This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV, Day 3 at CloudEXPO and Internet of Things Expo in Santa Clara, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley in the year 2015. If you can believe it, we're joined by Johannes Litzen of Utimaco, and we're going to talk some APIs later. We're going to talk some cloud, everything that's going on. But first, as I understand it, you had an announcement today, so let's talk about that. What was it, and what does it do, and what's going on?
That is correct, Roger, and thanks again for having us. It's the second year for us after last year. A lot has happened, a lot of good things, a lot of interesting things for the industry. We've seen the first remote car hack, which was really interesting, I thought. We've seen the introduction of chip cards in the US payment system, which kind of sort of happened in the 90s in Europe, so it's great that we're finally closing that gap in the US as well. We've seen the discontinuance of the Safe Harbor Act by the European Union. That's going to raise some privacy questions and discussions, I'm sure, if it hasn't already done so. And we're in a lucky spot to have a solution ready that can help in all of these cases, because in all of these cases you need encryption, you need key management, and the best way to do it, kind of the best practice, is to use hardware-based solutions to do just that. Now, the thing that we announced today is CryptoScript, what we call CryptoScript. It's a new way of programming a hardware security module, which typically requires standard APIs and very specific knowledge in people. You have to be an embedded programmer, you have to be a C, C++ expert to being able to program those devices, which is very costly and takes a lot of effort. So with CryptoScript, we hope to help in changing that a bit and easing the pain of integrating with HSMs a little bit.
And it's all real easy now. I have 2 credit cards with the little chips on them. So we're coming out of the Stone Age in the U.S. very gradually. Yep. And now we're in this in-between stage where everybody's kind of confused when you try to use them. We want a chip, we don't want a chip, but we're getting there. Yep. The Safe Harbor Act, that's actually a really, really big deal, which I think has not been discussed enough in the U.S. in general or at the show this week, but it's something I'll definitely follow up in writing about because it's hugely important. Now, everything you're talking about has been kind of, in a way, slow-moving cryptography, and the importance of encryption has been around for a long time. But it sounds like you're kind of upping the game, and maybe people are finally starting to understand its importance.
So, we talk a lot with our partners and customers, obviously, right? And we get those requirements a lot that, we really want to deploy this, but it's so hard to do. And, we have this specific thing that we need to do that just isn't part of that standard API. It just doesn't offer that functionality, So to give you an example is, you have to roll your keys every now and then, driven by, regulations like PCI DSS and the likes. Now, you can't do that in just one call using the APIs that are available today. So you end up having to do it in like 2 different calls, right? So you call to decrypt with the old key, then you have to add that second call to encrypt with the new key. Now with CryptoScript, you can implement those functionality into your own functionality, and then with just one call, you basically end up with a much faster solution that has less overhead. And the best part of it is that you actually remain in FIPS mode. So one of the important things for hardware-based solutions is the FIPS certification and being able to run in FIPS mode. And if you add anything that's not part of your certification, you lose the ability to run in FIPS mode. Now with CryptoScript, you can add that functionality and you can still remain in FIPS mode, right?
Who do you talk to at your customers? Who's in charge of this sort of thing? What sort of, where are you reaching people in the organization? And what sort of learning curve, if any, is there for them?
Well, that's a very good question. So typically we talk to product managers, we talk to security architects. Those are the type of peoples that get those immediate requirements on their table and that then have to deal with it. And then they then go to their engineering department and bring those guys in, and they say, look, we have this requirement driven by new regulation, and we now need to change our processes, we need to change our procedures to a way, and there's operations requirements down the road that change. You have to think about your backup, your restore mechanism. all these fine things, right? And most of the times, those aren't necessarily cryptographic experts, right? They're experts in their field, they have their domain expertise, and now they're all of a sudden tasked with integrating a cryptographic device. So, they can either rely on external knowledge and, pay money for that to bring it in, or with the help of CryptoScript, they can just leverage their standard experience in, it's a script-based language, right? So you're basically scripting those commands that then get sent to the hardware.
At a high level, what are you doing here? Trying to prevent fraud, theft, intrusion? Where along the transaction line are all the problems happening? What are sort of the major areas? Because to me it all looks like one great big undifferentiated thing.
Right, it's this one big blob.
But it's not to you. So deconstruct the blob for me.
Right. So you can think of our devices as the root of trust, right? Whenever we go into distributed systems, we sit in the back end and become that hardware-based root of trust. So we sit in your root CA, we sit in your centralized key management system. We generally sit in your back end, right? And then whatever your front end is, your front end might be a smart meter if you're a utility, it might be a car if you're an automotive manufacturer, it might be the payment card if you're a bank or a payment provider, right? So that endpoint also has a secure element, and we can then talk between the back end and the front end in a secure fashion because we establish that tunnel between the back end and the front end, right? So you man in the middle attack, they can't get to it because it's all just a blur. Right? The endpoint's protected, so you can't get to it. It's all hardened within a secure hardware shell.
So I promised we'd talk about cloud and APIs a little bit. People are sort of putting things together from all over the place. It has to increase the security risks, I would think.
I would agree, yes. We're really, from a technology perspective, the product was first established for financial payment transactions, right? Where, guess what? It's money you're transferring, right? So there's an immediate need to secure that stream, right? So you could say it used to be a niche product, right? With interconnecting more things, with cloud being used by enterprises all over the place, mostly deploying hybrid clouds now. So you have a mix of private and public cloud. There are certain areas, and there's certainly part of your data that you want to keep secret, you want to keep secure. Typically, back to talking about privacy, typically personal identifiable information of some sort. Talking about a North American context, it's your social security number, it's your credit card number, right? It's certain health data that you don't want to see get in the wrong hands, right? And obviously with the data center moving from on-prem to in the cloud, you want to make sure that in the cloud you have the same trust level, even though you might not necessarily trust your cloud provider.
That's what I meant. So let's go back to CryptoScript a little bit. Where are we in the process? It's been announced. What are you looking for now? How is it going to progress? What are the next steps? Where are we going to be a year from now? All that.
So what we've announced is basically the concept of CryptoScript. So it's by no means a product that you can buy today. What we're looking for is companies that are interested in test driving it, in working together with us and trying it out and becoming those first beta partners for the program, right? And then 1 year from now, we're going to be releasing the product, and we're going to be in the position of knowing an end date for the certification, right? That's ultimately the goal, like I said, to have that CryptoScript FIPS validated, and a year is a good horizon to get that happening.
So for the companies, the people out there that want to be part of this, how do they, best way to contact your company?
Well, the best way is certainly to go on the website, www.utimaco.com, and reach out to us. For North America, our office is in Los Gatos, so we're local in the Bay Area, if you're also in the Bay Area. And those are basically the best ways to get in touch with us.
Johannes Litzen from Utimaco, thanks for joining us again. I look forward to talking to you down the road and see how this thing progresses. So thanks again. Thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckhoff.